I'm Oral Hershiser, and I am on Blue Review. Hey, this is Sean Green. You're watching the Blue Review.
Nah, nah, nah.
I
Bring.
don't. What are you?
Ah,
I don't like. You don't bend D because the
I
NL
don't.
lost. But Robo.
Yeah, we definitely can't do any. We can't do any
Yeah.
lasers because the National League they were terrible offensively yesterday. Anyway,
I guess it's technically a loss too because Dave Roberts was the manager. So.
yeah, yeah, it's all bad.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to the Blue
I mean,
Review on a
bad
Wednesday
is
morning,
relative.
presented by LAX. Yeah, that's true. I'm Marcus Grant. That is Greg Bergman, and of course you haven't figured it out. Talking about the All Star Game yesterday, the National League pretty much fizzled. Christopher Sanchez gave up in the first inning, and that was pretty much all she wrote. The AL went on to a 4-0 win over the NL. I believe it was the first shutout in an All Star game I think I heard in like 14 years or something like that.
Oh
It had
wow.
been a while.
Yeah. Not only
Yeah,
that, like the Christopher Sanchez gave up the three in the first inning, and then the offense just stopped until the
yeah,
second inning of was it the eighth inning for Robleski? Yeah.
yeah,
Besides
yeah.
that, there was no offense whatsoever. There was like a hit here, there. The National League had one hit, and they got it, or like early on, and that was all that she wrote. They got a couple hits later on, but that was not an exciting offensive game, to say
It
the
was
least. And
not.
I wouldn't call it the most exciting pitching matchup either. There was, cool. It was a
No,
game. It was a game.
it
That
was
was
it
maybe the
was
worst All Star game we've had in a long time because it was really,
in a
really good
while.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah, there was really nothing to speak of in the All Star game
No.
yesterday. We'll talk about maybe a little bit of it in just a bit, but first I want to let you know the Blue Review is powered by LAX. What does it take to build a champion? Well, at LAX, it takes round the clock testing. Skylink is being perfected right now to connect you to the airport, the new rental car center, and the metro in under 10 minutes. For more information, visit lawa.org/ESPN. The one bright spot, I guess, from the All Star game, Justin Robleski got to pitch
Yeah.
on his 26th birthday in the All Star game, and first struck out the side in the first inning that he pitched. Struck out two in his second inning of work, although he did, as Bear in the comments mentioned, he found contact. it was Greg. It was loud contact.
Yeah. It was contact of a very high level for Miguel Vargas. As soon as he hit it, you're like, oh, that thing is just out of the park. It was crazy, but good for Miguel Vargas. First of all, the fact that the former Dodger makes the All Star team, and from after having
Yeah,
a great year, he couldn't figure it out with the Dodgers. They ship him off to the worst place he could possibly go to, the Chicago White Sox, and the worst team in baseball, who've turned it around this year, and a lot because of him, how good he has been. So it was totally deserved for him to be an All Star, and for him to hit a home run in the All Star game too. Good for him. But Robo was. He was pretty much dominant. Besides that, five
yeah,
strikeouts, and it was under 30 pitches too in two innings.
yeah. No, he looked really really good. It's funny because it was a Dodger slash former Dodger filled All Star game because you had the Dodger starters with Muncy and Freeman and Pajes. You had Robleski who got to pitch last night. You had Miguel Vargas, former Dodger, who hit the home run. You had Cody Bellinger, former Dodger, who wins the All Star MVP award. So it was just Dodgers just littered everywhere in that. In fact, I don't know if you saw the clip. I know you weren't around watching it maybe intently, but they had Pete Crow Armstrong mic'd up when
Oh
Vargas
boy.
hit the home run. And so
I
he's
saw the
like
home run. I didn't hear
talking.
it though.
So, like Joe Davis, John Smolter asking him questions right when Vargas hits the ball. And like PC in the middle of a sentence is just like talking like, oh yeah, oh God. He just watches the ball go because it
Yeah.
was a no doubter off the bat. So
Yeah.
yeah, that part was funny.
Yeah, I missed that, but like the,
Otherwise,
the Cody
it
Bellinger
was
part of
good.
it, Marcus. Yeah, Cody Bellinger part of it. Can we like? Is that how bad this All-Star game was? No offense to Cody Bellinger. He got a hit in the first inning that scored 2
A
runs.
2-run
But, like,
single in the first inning.
that's your MVP. That's what it gets to. This is what's giving you your All-Star game MVP. A little flare single and up the middle for 2 runs. Like, come on, man. I get it. There was 2 outs, but that's your MVP. Like, I guess he did the most in a 4-run game. He's rove in 2, but man, nothing was better than that. That's kind of crazy. That's kind
of how things went last night. I will say this: my only last piece of analysis on this is that
analysis.
If this All-Star outing does something to kind of bring Christopher Sanchez down for the second half of the season, I'm here for that. If this is the beginning of him just sort of falling apart in the last couple months of the season, I'm fine with that part too.
Well, I think I heard, because I don't follow Phillies baseball as much as the next guy, but from what I heard on the broadcast, I think I heard it right. He in his last 2 games gave up like 20 hits. He went into the All-Star break stumbling. So as the starter, I get why he was a starter, and I get that he's been a great pitcher, but he's been having a rough last couple of outings, from what I understand. I'm trying to get the game log up.
I'm looking at it right now. July 11th against the Tigers, went 7 innings. He only gave up 2 runs, but on 10 hits.
Yeah.
And then July 6th against the Royals, gave up 9 runs in 3 1/3 and allowed 12 hits in that one. So yeah, he has been quite hittable in his last few outings. So all right.
Yeah. So that could also. Detroit, I think we can probably talk about that if you want. Detroit has been super hot all of a sudden, and they're only 3 games back in the wild card, I believe. And that could mean that Tarik Skubal, who we talk about all the time, is that the guy that the Dodgers are going to bring over here? Is he going to move? I think they still probably do move him because they screwed him over with his arbitration, or they just try and keep him to get one last run out of him and be like the Angels when Shohei Ohtani and not move him. But and let him walk for free. But I don't know what they do with it. What do you think they do with him if they are going into the All-Star break kind of hot?
That's I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to try and ride this out. That they're going to try and see what they can do, how far they can get with Skubal, because that was supposed to be the big thing this year, right? They were really going to make a run at it last year's playoff run. That, hey, let's see if we can load up. Let's see what we can do for one season. Hope it works out. And I think, maybe again, you mentioned how they treated him during his arbitration hearing. Maybe if they can do something and put something together, they can use that as a way to maybe entice him to stay. I don't know if that's possible at this point, but I think the next. Wow, it's July 15th, right? So you really only have 10 days, essentially, to try and do something and prove it to him.
But if you look at the Central is a winnable division. Like, no matter what, even they're 6.5 games back of the division. You're not out of it, but you're not like fully in it. But at the same time, your run differential is plus 24, which is the only other team in the Central Division that has besides the White Sox, that has a plus run differential. You go in hot. If you play really well up until that maybe like 5-6 days before the trade deadline, which I believe is August 3rd this year because it's the Monday, then that means if you make a little bit of run here, he may not move, and that is really going to change for a lot of teams around here. Like it makes a lot of difference. You better. It also puts him in like, we don't have to move him mode. You better give up a ton because we're kind of in this.
Yeah, I think that may be the biggest part of this is that they do still move him, but the price goes way up, and then it becomes a little game of chicken to see who's willing to pay it. And we know Andrew Friedman's not going to overpay at the deadline for pitching. But, is somebody willing to give up the farm essentially to get a guy that may or may not re-sign with you in free agency when this is all done? Like, how much is it worth for the potential of a 2-month rental for a guy? If you think he can help you win a World Series, maybe in the end it's worth it. But this becomes really interesting because to your point, 2 weeks ago, it seemed like the Tigers were sort of dead and buried, and it just seemed like Skubal moving was a no brainer. Now they got real decisions to make in Detroit about this whole thing. So
Yeah, Buster
we'll
only
see.
Buster only tweeted earlier about an hour ago. The Tigers are 22-14 since the start of June. That's a 99 win pace. They're 3.5 games back in the race for the AL for the third wild card. So they're right. They're right there. That is something that to really watching. If we're gonna, I mean, we watch the Dodgers every day, obviously, but really watching the Tigers to kind of see what's going to go on there, that's kind of fascinating because they are in such a weird mode. Dude, I continually go back to the Angels and not moving Shohei Ohtani. I mean, you did this to him. You wanted to give him $18 million in arbitration or $19 million, and he wanted 32. And there's no middle ground that gets done in arbitration. So he got $32 million for a year. That puts something into your brain. But you saw what he did too. Like he had the loose bodies in the elbow, made it back super fast. Now pitching for him, pitching well. It's a fascinating part of what's going to happen over these last 2 weeks, and especially for
Yeah.
guys that are looking for pitching.
Which is a lot of teams, right? Every team can use arms, and literally every team could use an arm like Tarik Skubal. It's just whether or not the price is going to be right for it. I think that's going to be the big question going forward. But I guess that does make for an interesting dovetail into the conversation because yesterday we spent a lot of time kind of looking back at the first half of the season. Today feels like a good day to sort of look ahead to the second half of the season and what we anticipate. And so I guess let's start with the fact that the trade deadline is quickly approaching in a couple of weeks. And I know we've kicked this topic around a lot, but here we are again. Is there any real spot of need for the Dodgers? Anything that they really need to pursue coming up at the trade deadline? Or is it just as simple as like, let's just get healthy and get all our guys back?
I mean, I really hate the saying because I know this is what if it feels like this is what the Dodgers say every single year, but getting healthy is kind of the trade deadline for them. I mean, it's Blake's. If you, I got it still. I hate this is such a stupid thing to say, but Blake's. If you got at the trade deadline, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Will Smith, and Edwin Diaz at the trade deadline. I think you won that trade deadline, and that's essentially what you're getting back at the trade deadline. I mean, it's going to be some a little bit early, some a little bit like right around it, but at the same time, those are the four guys. That's a elite level position player, two elite level pitchers, and one elite closer or a relief pitcher. Like I don't really know what else you could be really asking for. And you're just healthy all the way around. Tommy Evans playing well. You can move guys in and out of the outfield, but you're kind of set at your outfield where it's Tucker and then Pajes and Teo. But Teo's even looked better than he did, especially defensively. Just looks a little bit quicker. So I just don't see any necessary move. And now knock on wood because something always happens, but. And they'll get something, but backup catcher that's going to be in the minor leagues. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the thing, and I know Travis Rogers has talked about that. Maybe they go out and try to find some catching help, somebody to kind of be a stopgap. Because remember last year, part of the reason that we know the name Ben Rortvedt is because there were injuries at catcher, right? I mean, you had Dalton Rushing nicked up, you had Will Smith a little bit beat up, and so we got to learn about Benny biceps, and then this year with Will Smith not around for a while, we've seen Chucky Robinson and Eliezer Alfonso. We have learned that of all the places in the minor league system where the Dodgers are deep, catcher is not necessarily one of them. But I also do wonder, do you do that at the trade deadline, or is that a thing you try to shore up in the off season? I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on how far away you think Will Smith is. I do agree they need catching help, but I'm also wondering, is it something that you feel like you have to do right now? Or you just wait for your guys to get ready, and then you can address that, in the winter, whenever teams are going to be available and able to make off-season moves, depending on what happens with the stoppage, I guess.
Yeah, depending on what happens. I mean, there's a lot of different areas there. I think you got it nailed it on the head with it depends on what's going on with Will Smith. If you think that Will Smith is fully actually injured and badly injured or not going to make it back at some point, you have to make a move, and it has to be for a high-level catcher. Going into the postseason with Dalton rushing, I don't think that is going to be enough to get through to the World Series. You need, if you want to be short up everywhere, maybe he would be the starter for the most part. He could split time, but getting a high-level catcher, I think, would be massively important if Will Smith is down. Now, if you think he's going to be back and normal, no, but I still think you do make some moves to, if you, like Eric Lauer, right? We talk about him all the time, that you can actually fetch something for him. If you can fetch a couple, minor league catchers for him that you think that have that have a high upside, I think that's something that you could do. But it really is fully dependent on what's going on with Will Smith and whether or not he's going to be back and be back soon.
Yeah. Last I heard, I think he's hoping to start baseball activities soon. I don't know. It just seems really nebulous. It feels like a typical Dave Roberts medical evaluation where you're never really sure what's happening. So I'm looking right now. Timeline still remains unclear now. So
yeah.
This is for a guy who originally wasn't it just that he slept wrong? Wasn't that the original report? He slept wrong, and that's why he needed a couple of days off.
Yeah, it's so funny too because Dr. Clapper was on with Mason in Ireland right before I went on with them for my Boys in Blue report with them, and he was upset that people were saying that it was. They're like, no. He's like, this is not because he felt. I don't think that's funny. It's like, whoa, I don't think anybody was joking about it, but at the same time, I think Dave. I think he looked at it as Dave was just kind of like, oh yeah, I just kind of slept on it, funny, and he was upset by it. But either way, that was the original thing that Dave said, and we take everything with a grain of salt. But at the same time, it's been over a month, and it's been quite some time, and we don't know when it's going to get better. So those are the two things that, like the Skubal stuff to watch with Detroit in these next 15 days, and Will Smith in these next 15 days are also extremely important to watch.
Yeah. So the latest quote from Dave Roberts, this was from Tuesday, hesitant to put any type of timeline on it, but certainly expect him back this year, just have no idea when. So
yeah, well, that's not great.
Yeah. I think the other big issue facing the Dodgers is around Shohei Ohtani. And I think it was John Ireland that asked me this a couple of days ago. But obviously they skipped a couple of turns in the rotation. They pushed one back they pushed him back when he was supposed to start in Sacramento, and they moved him back a day. Then they skipped his turn just before the All-Star break to kind of let the knee sort of rest a little bit. He didn't participate in the All-Star activities. Second half of the season, what sort of schedule do you anticipate for Ohtani, the pitcher? We know that when he's healthy, he's going to be in the lineup and hit pretty much every day. But in terms of Ohtani, the pitcher, knowing they want and need him in the postseason, but are trying to sort of load manage him through the last couple months of the year, do we see him skip more starts between now and, say, the end of the regular season?
I think that really will depend on him. I think we found out, and I think it's the right way to go about it. Whatever Shohei wants, Shohei's going to do. If he wants a day off, he'll get a day off. If he wants to keep pitching, he will. I think it really depends. Like, he got the knee drained, right? So as long as he's good. They said before the All-Star break, again, what the Dodgers say and what they actually mean and do is two different things. But the fact is, they said he's not expected to miss any scheduled starts. I don't think he does miss starts. I think he got essentially 3 weeks off, like you're saying. Like, he gets essentially 3 weeks off to pitch again. That should be enough time to get himself all figured out. Let the blister heal a little bit. Let his bicep heal. Get his knee drained. Everything, so he's ready and set for the rest of this regular season and postseason. So I think he's going to pitch on his regular once-a-week schedule. I think. What do you think? The fact that we know the Cy Young is just gone. That is not a thing. He has no chance at it. Blah blah blah. Does that make him pitch easier? Or he's like, all right, I don't have to think about this. I'm going to just go out and pitch? Or is it kind of like a disappointment?
I mean, I'm sure in his mind it's a big disappointment, right? Again, he's going to settle, air quotes, for the MVP.
Oh,
this year,
poor guy.
you know? Right, exactly. So I think in his mind it's a disappointment, but I do think it also allows him to be a little bit more free and easy out there on the mound. I also think, though, that is why we've seen the Dodgers skip some starts in the rotation to give him some extra time, right? I think they gave him a true opportunity to go and chase that, understanding it was always going to be hard because he was not going to hit the same number of innings as a Sanchez, a Mizorowski, whoever else, Yamamoto, whoever else is in that argument. But I think they gave him a real shot to chase it. And then when it kind of became apparent that it was going to be really difficult and nearly impossible for him to get there, that gave the Dodgers an opportunity to say, hey, look, we gave you the shot. We need you more in October, so let's back off a little bit. Because I think if we were talking about him with still an ERA of like under 1 and doing all these ridiculous Shohei things, I think it gets a little bit harder to skip a start because you're taking away the opportunity for him to pursue a thing he really wanted to do. So I hope this just sort of gives him the opportunity to exhale. I hope he really got some rest during the All-Star break. Enjoy your family, spend time with your kids, whatever, and then show up at Yankee Stadium this weekend ready to rock. So maybe he can exhale and then just go back out there and start dealing again the way he did to begin the year.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what you're hoping. But I think a lot of that, I don't think it's all Dalton Rushing dependent. I think there's some of that there. But it's Will Smith not being there. I think that you miss, out of all the guys that are on the injured list that we want back, I think Will Smith is easily the guy that we miss the most, and it's mostly for his catching abilities too. Dalton's a good catcher, but there's that whole Dalton Shohei thing, and he fully misses.
You don't think that's
Will Smith,
you don't think that's been cleared up?
I think they're fine. I don't think they're ever gonna fully like each other. They're not gonna be going to dinner and best buds and having a bromance, but they'll be fine on the field and they'll get it all figured out how to do it. But Shohei and Will have something that they know, understand each other. They know how they work. That's why he's not getting what he wants out of Dalton, but he gets it out of Will Smith. So I just think that's the one. He's missing that the most in my mind. And also, you mentioned Yankee Stadium. Sorry, we only have a couple minutes left. I'm so excited to see Yamamoto pitch at Yankee Stadium again. He just shoves at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. I mean, that was the moment 2 years ago when the Dodgers went there and he had that, was it the eight innings? I think it was
like one run or
something like that. Whatever it was, that was the moment that I knew the Dodgers had a guy. They had a dude when he went in there and did that. So, and then to do it again in the World Series, go and shove. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I would imagine folks in the Bronx have long memories and they're going to be ready for it. But I'm here for it. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be so much fun for sure.
Yeah, I love watching Yamamoto pitch, and you're right. That was the moment for him that we all just went back. Oh, okay, he likes the bright lights. And, and if there's anybody that's proved that, I think Yamamoto has totally approved that he likes the bright lights.
Yeah, man. I mean, just that Yankee Stadium series, the World Series, obviously last year's World Series, going games.
His postseason was amazing.
Oh man, I mean, just legendary postseason stuff from Yamamoto last year. So it should be fun. Still a couple more days. They're back at it on Friday. So tomorrow, I don't know. We're gonna talk to Bruce Kuntz. We're gonna talk some draft stuff tomorrow.
We are.
Possibly.
We are going to talk to Bruce Kuntz tomorrow. So if you are curious about the draft picks that I have no idea who anybody is, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research to actually have some.
Whom you may not see for 5+ years, but whatever.
Bruce Kuntz, at a perfect day, a Thursday where there's no baseball, and we can also still preview the Yankees on Friday. We will have Bruce Kuntz tomorrow to break down all of the MLB draft that none of us actually know anything about.
Yeah. Otherwise we'd be doing like a SB recap or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we love the SBs. V Foundation. It's Giving Tuesday, by the way. v.org/
There you go.
Donate.
That is
v.org.
That is absolutely a great thing.
Yeah.
That is absolutely a great thing, and you should donate if you absolutely can. All right, back with you tomorrow, of course. Stick around. Excuse me. The Sedano and Cap Morning Extravaganza coming up right after us. Thanks to everybody in the chat for hanging out. Thanks to Carlo for production assistance. But that'll do it for this edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. For Greg, I am Marcus. Back with you tomorrow, 6:30, 6:55 here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. See ya.
So, the Blue Review. The Blue Review.